Hello, this is Mike from Dimensional Walking, and today I'm going to read you a story. It's a story from one of Rainbow's experiences that she just recently had, and it's pretty interesting. I think it's quite interesting, actually. And Rainbow's had many experiences over her lifetime, many different things from UFOs to cryptids to spiritual things to ghosts, and it goes on and on and on. Okay, so she could write many a books. Um, Anyways, I'm going to tell you one of their most recent stories, and I think you're really going to enjoy it. I did. So the name of this would be the Paranormal Storm, the portal that appeared in the rain, and this is by my partner Rainbow. So here we go. Something happened to me last month that seemed to shock me, but for a very unusual reason. It wasn't because it was unnerving, Lee, but more so because something wanted to get my attention. Plus, it seemed to know where I lived. Here's what happened. As a summer storm rolled into my hometown with an electric intensity that raised the hairs on the back of my neck, thunder and lightning were the star players that night, with the wind howling like a banshee, announcing their arrival. Rain pummeled the roof with a harsh fervor. The thunder, followed by lightning, was uh, slightly ominous. Within my sense of repose, I felt an unease. It was like an impending event slowly touching my inner core. I knew then and there that I was no longer alone. Something wanted to show itself to me. The wind was my first warning that something was amiss. At times, huge gusts of wind came roaring through, only to slow down and allow the rain to drench the surrounding landscape. At the very moment the rain dissipated, the smell of otherworldly crept in. The birds, hushed by silence, stopped their singing, and the wind diminished its swirling uproar to a faint stillness, all within a blink of an eye. There was more within the storm's immense swirling mass that was apparent, and I had to say, if it wasn't for technology, I never would have seen the paranormal presence itself to me. If my camera wasn't recording in real time, I would have been clueless. A glimpse. I was in my bedroom enjoying the storm when I looked at the computer screen connected to the outside camera. I saw a strange blue, iridescent shape start to form, and in a matter of seconds it was completely materialized. It was a striking, unique, and ethereal glow. The shape was like a glowing mushroom in the movie Avatar. It didn't quite fit into the landscape, and it stood silently before the glowing veil, not menacing, but as if it had come with a purpose, and that purpose was me. Hovering above the road in front of me, at that very moment, time stood still. The road itself was a two-lane thoroughfare in the middle of nowhere. I was isolated, which in its own way always seemed to tempt the supernatural. All I had was my wits about me, and at the times I couldn't even find them. I looked at my computer screen and couldn't believe my eyes. So I peered out the window and saw nothing. There was no empirical mushroom outside my window, but when I looked back at the screen, it was there. It was fully formed, and I knew I was looking at a very strange portal. To say I was confused would be an understatement, but thankfully I had enough sense to take a photograph. The mushroom shaped glow pulsed with an otherworldly light, as if it was breathing the storm itself into its being. Once I took the picture, something else started to form. and I knew it was something entirely different from the mushroom portal. As I was looking back and forth, a dark brownish mass started to slowly materialize in front of the mushroom portal. I couldn't determine if it came from the mushroom portal or if it appeared out of thin air, just like the mushroom portal itself. It wasn't ominous, but it seemed to be part of the storm itself. The outline of the man started to form, but to my amazement, when I looked outside the window for the upteenth time, there was nothing there. I went back and forth trying to keep my sanity intact. Now I was getting concerned. In a split second, the man was fully formed, standing and looking right at me. He had on a long duster like the old cowboys used to wear. His hat was between a bolero and a cowboy hat. He had long hair past his shoulders, and he was silhouetted in a dark brown color that emulated out of a glowing mushroom portal. Or it could have been from him. He he wanted me to see him, and I felt an overwhelming desire to hide, but I knew it was too late. I again looked out the window and saw nothing. But interesting thing was that I didn't think I was in any danger. I kept asking myself the question, how on earth could these things be on my computer screen but not in real life? In the distance, lights in the distance, lights from the road started to get closer, and I knew a car was eventually to come up the road towards my house. The mushroom portal and man were still in the road. Well, at least that's how it looked on my screen. As the car got closer, I knew it was going to turn on the road uh, towards the house. I wanted I waited on bated breath to see what the driver would do once it got close enough. Would would they get a sense of what I was seeing on my computer screen? The car put its blinker on to turn alongside the road to my house, and I must say that I felt a great sense of joy at no longer being alone. The car turned, and just before it drove through, the mushroom portal slowly dissolved into the air, like water droplets turning into mist. The man soared into the sky with remarkable speed, transforming into a flock of ravens that took flight heading west. I blinked in shock and disbelief. The car went by as if nothing had happened. I had to ask myself, did I really see what I thought I just saw? But then I remembered that I took two photos, one of the mushroom portal and the other of the dark mass of the man beginning to materialize. I was thankful that I had the presence of mind to take both of the photographs. 2 days after the experience, I got sick, and I just want to let everybody know that it's common when you have very profound experiences to get ill afterwards, either shortly after actually having the experience or within a few days. It is very common. It happens with abductees all the time. So back to what Rainbow has to say. I was in bed with a fever that rushed through my entire body. It was worse than anything I'd experienced with COVID. She had COVID twice. It took me 4 weeks to recover, but when I did, something strange happened. I felt healthier than I had ever had in years. Update. Just recently, I was told in a dream world that the man came to help me get something out of my body that would have eventually crippled me for the rest of my life. I guess I'm sharing this experience with you to let him know how grateful I am. This experience illustrated not all storms are alike. Within the tumultuous clouds of thunder and lightning, there can be unexpected positive surprises. The beauty of glory is a remarkable revelation, and I was reminded of this truth. Nature, after all, is the hallmark of God's greatest gift to humans. But I have to say, our portals and supernatural beings, the next level of blessings, you be the judge. Okay, thank you. Uh, Anyways, a side comment. Uh, I hope you enjoyed. Like I said, Rainbow has a lot of experiences and she shared many of them. Many of them are on the videos we've done, the over 600 videos we've done. So if you want to enjoy those too, you can. Anyways, happy trails until we meet again. We'll see you. Bye bye.